Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new League of Legends video. So for today's video, we will be talking about one champion in specific, a champion that I personally believe is probably the strongest in League of Legends if mastered. And that champion is going to be none other than Thalia. So when you use the word strongest, that can obviously mean several things, but the things I'm referring to are just simply carry potential, the amount of damage you can do, the amount of impact you can have throughout the game. Thalia is insanely strong when it comes to having a lot of impact in the game and even having good catch potential and bursting someone out. She has not only fantastic wave clear with her Q ability and even her full combo with her QW and E, but she also has great roaming potential with her passive and especially her ultimate. Her ultimate can set up an insane amount of plays, but it is very difficult to use correctly. And I'm sure we've all experienced the situations where the Thalia simply catches you out with her W, throws in her E ability with her Q, and then you just instantly blow up. I mean, it's not very fun. But on the flip side of all of these positives, she is one of the more difficult champions in League of Legends to play and even master. She usually requires a very specific use of abilities in proper sequence in order to actually utilize her full potential, and her ultimate doesn't do any damage, so the only real use you have for it is roaming and cutting people off and separating enemies in certain areas, or just simply catching someone off by using it for the mobility. But if you misuse it, which is very easy to do, it can have very negative consequences for your team. So like I said, Thalia, one of the most difficult champions in League of Legends to master, but if you put in the time and actually truly understand and learn this champion, you will be rewarded. So let us take a look at some numbers. Here you have a graph showing the win rate of Thalia based on how many games you have played with her, or in other words, your experience with the champion and how much time you've put into learning her. So if you're very fresh with Thalia and you've only played 1 to maybe 15 games, I mean your win rate is below 50%. You're technically a hindrance to your team because you're still understanding her concepts, how to play her, how to carry with her, and all that stuff. But then once you've invested 15 to 50 games, I mean your percentage to win has increased to almost 55%. That already in itself is quite the big jump, but I mean if you really are trying to learn her and master her and you've played 50 to 125 games with her, your win rate with her has jumped over 60%. That is a very high win rate, so it clearly shows that if you do put in the time to understand and learn this champion and essentially master her, I mean, you will be rewarded. Now as to why it goes back down to about 56% or so win rate if you've played over 125 games with her, I'm not entirely sure, but either way it's above 55% as long as you've played, let's say, 50 games. When you look at high elo, maybe Diamond 1, Masters, or even Challenger, or especially in the LCS, Thalia is very commonly picked or banned. I mean, the mid lane meta seems to heavily revolve around her, and this is why she is receiving some sort of random-ish kind of nerfs in patch 6.18. She's almost becoming like the next Azir, a very high skill cap champion, but if understood and mastered to a certain extent, is extremely deadly, and it's almost like there's no reason to pick any other champion if she's up and ready to be picked. Now, whether or not it's a coincidence that the same person that designed Azir also designed Thalia, I mean, that kind of begs the question. But before we go into giving you guys an idea on how you want to build her runes masteries in case you're still not aware or you want to get a refresher, let's talk about another thing that Thalia can do quite successfully that also proves to be very annoying and very successful for her. This is what I'm starting to see a lot of Thalia players do. Now, early in the game, when you clear the first wave or so, you can go into the enemy jungle, go right beside their wraiths, and you can easily just throw in your Q, probably kill all the small ones if you really want to with your E ability or your W, and that's free experience, that's free gold, that's even free CS, and you're also denying the enemy jungler experience that they may rely on in order to get a certain level and begin their ganks. Because you can push in the wave from level 1 extremely quickly and almost no other champion can match you just because of the damage your Q can do, and the second you do that and the second the minions are under enemy towers, you just go into the enemy jungle, take those wraiths as well because it just takes 1 Q at the end of the day, and you're pretty good to go and you already have a free advantage. Next up, let's jump into what kind of items, runes, masteries, and even the skill order for playing Thalia. So first off, your masteries are quite standard for a typical mage. 12, 18, 0. Obviously Thunderlords because it synergizes with your kit, adds more to your burst, and the extra damage from ferocity when you're CCing your target just works perfectly with her W and her E. All in all, the masteries are definitely quite straightforward, so let's go right into the runes next. At the end of the day, the runes will just simply matter on what your items are, but based on the items I will show you guys soon, this is the rune page that works. You want to have magic penetration reds, HP per level yellows, flat AP quints, and then you want to have enough CDR per level blues to hit 10% at level 18, and the rest can be either magic resistance or AP. Because when you combine this with also the items that you get, it's exactly 40% cooldown reduction, with the Morellonomicon being 20, Abyssal giving you 10, and your runes giving you the last 10%. But regardless, these are the typical items you want to get on Thalia: Morellonomicon, Abyssal Scepter, and Rylai's Crystal Scepter. Rylai's being probably the most core item on her out of all of them. Now, other options can include things such as Zhonya's Hourglass, of course, instead of Rabadon's, or maybe something like Liandry's Torment instead of Abyssal Scepter. The skill order for Thalia is also quite simple. You almost always want to start with your Q first, E level 2, W level 3, and then max your Q, followed by E, followed by W, and of course ultimate whenever you can. And last but not least, your summoners will be a combination of Flash and either Ghost, Ignite, Cleanse, or Exhaust. This one is very situational. I mean, what are you facing? Do you need to have Ghost to dodge a lot of skill shots? Do you need something like Ignite to have extra kill pressure in lane? Cleanse, maybe because you're facing someone like Twisted Fate, or they have a lot of instant lockdown, hard CC abilities that you can't really dodge? Or do you have Exhaust, maybe because you're facing some kind of an assassin, or they have a ridiculous amount of dive? Like I said, very, very situational. But other than that, guys, I mean, that is about it for this video. I mean, I just really wanted to talk about Thalia because I truly feel like she is probably one of the best champions in League of Legends in terms of having a lot of potential. Definitely not an easy champion, will take a lot of games to understand and really just learn. She's very similar to Azir. I mean, he's not easy to pick up. He does take a lot of games to practice, understand, and utilize his full kit to its full potential. But once you do, once you definitely dedicate the time, you will be a very solid player on that champion. Thalia being probably one of the best examples at the very moment. So if you're looking for some new mid lane champion that you want to invest a lot of time in and just get really good at and just dominate and maybe even hard carry your games, Thalia, even though it will take a lot of time, is a really good champion to do that with. But either way, guys, that is it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy, remember to hit that like button to show your support. Share this with your friends so everyone else knows what potentially is the best champion in League of Legends with a lot of games and experience. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you for the next video. Peace.